little sample of the MAC Hyper Real Foundation. It's actually a liquid highlighter in the shade Gold. I'm gonna put a little bit on because I'm really curious about this. It's a liquid highlighter. I'm gonna spread this on the cheeks. It's pretty. Today I'm using my Star palette from Natasha Denona. I'm going for a really pretty gold look. I'm gonna start off with the matte shade Flesh right over here with my Wayne Goss number 18 brush. We pat the shade following my natural orbital bone structure, pushing this into the eye socket. You can kind of feel the shape of your eye socket with your brush, the area that sinks in, and then I'm going to drag it upward. I already primed my lids using, as always, my Makeup Forever Step 1 eye and lip primer, and I put it on both my eyes and my lips. I'm taking Vega, same brush. So I have a little bit of a bone to pick with Natasha Denona. I was really quite upset when I heard that the mini Star palette was going to be repeated shades from the large Star palette. By the way, I'm taking this shade and lightly sweeping it over the top edge of what we laid down before as a transition from the orbital bone to the brow bone. So she didn't do that for the mini Sunset palette or the mini Lila palette, but for some reason for the Star palette, which is my favorite of the palettes, she's using repeated shades. She's using this guy and like that guy, and I don't understand. It actually made me like shake with anger. I was really upset. I think it was just extreme disappointment because I've been waiting for the mini palette. I was waiting and waiting. I was okay with her doing Sunset and Lila before the Star palette, even though the Star palette predates the other two, just because I knew eventually she would do a mini. So I was like, okay, I'll just wait, it'll be fine, it'll be an amazing extension to this palette, and I was so pumped. And then she did in a really like on Instagram, she like briefly mentioned that they were repeated shades, and I was just like, what? Like, that's so low effort. That's so annoying. I'm a little bit, I'm over it. At first I was like ranting to my friends and family, but I'm over it now. But it was just, it just made me feel like disregarded or like thought over. For people who love the Star palette, people whose favorite palette is the Star palette like it is for me, that was a little bit of a blow because I had been waiting and I was expecting, and she's just producing more and more and like releasing palette after palette after palette so quickly, like ColourPop, but she couldn't, like, all she had to do was tweak the shades a little bit, call them new shades, you know, just slightly different, keep within the tone, but I just don't see why they had to be repeated. Why? I don't know. I'm just not happy. I'm going to take a smaller brush. This is the MAC 221, and I'm going into Gemma, this deep shade here, one of my favorites in the palette. I mean, it's not that big of a deal really, but to me, you know, I care. I really do care. I care about makeup and makeup releases, and I was just so excited, and it was just such a blow. So I'm just lightly putting this into the outer third of that eye socket, and with my Wayne Goss number 18, I'm just brushing that out, making sure there's nothing harsh going on. You guys, my Viseart Grand Pro 2 palette is supposed to arrive today, so I keep like looking over and like waiting for the truck to come and deliver this package. I'm so excited. But I am actually getting ready for a date, so it'll probably come while I'm not here. But yeah. With my Chikuhodo eyeshadow brush, little pencil brush, I'm taking Atria, this beautiful gold on the top, with a dry brush into the inner corner and work my way over. So I'm kind of following that nose contour shade we laid down earlier and patting this shade in that shape, scooping it around. I'm going to pat this all over the lid. I'm carefully shaping the lid all the way to the outer edge. And I'm laying this gold down completely as a base, and we'll go over it and bring some dimension with other shades on top. Now with a bit of Spectrum, which looks very similar once you swatch it to this guy over here, but Spectrum's a little deeper, so I'm going to go in with Spectrum with that same pencil brush. It's a softer, bigger, slightly fluffier than most pencil brushes. Pat this right on top. Mixing it into the gold shade, essentially covering the outer third, reinforcing the lid line that we created by using the tip of the brush and brushing back and forth. Again, I'm going to take some more of that shade and I'm going to put this in the inner third, having the tip of the brush face inward to create that natural triangle shape that the brush allows me to do just by the way I hold it. Now with my fingertip, I am going to go into Polaris, this shade right over here, center, to lighten the lid. I'm going to take a little bit of Cosmo, pat that right on top. With my Wayne Goss number 19 little guy, I'm actually going to take a little bit of MAC Fix Plus and spritz that lightly and go into, and I'm going to go into Galaxia, this bright shade down here. Pat that right into the inner corner. And take a little bit more and pat that onto the very center just to give it that much more of a pop. A little bit of this guy with a pencil brush. This is the Wet n Wild pencil sort of buffer brush. I'm going to sweep that underneath. I'm going to take a little bit of this red over here and push that into the outer third. My friend Ellen pointed out that these reds came out at sort of the beginning of the fad of red eyeshadow, and that they're more buildable and sheer. I think I have to agree. I'm putting that in the inner third as well. And now I'm taking this guy, the one we used all over the lid, and popping that right on the center of the lower lash line. I'm now going to take my beloved Milani Supreme Kohl Kajal eyeliner, put this on the waterline, tight line, all that good stuff. I'm going to take a precise flat brush and go into this deep shade. I'm going to stamp that right across the lower lash line. And the upper lash line. Right there on a nice bit of mascara. This is my favorite, the YSL Shock. I'm just lightly filling my brows in with a pencil. For foundation, I'm using a tad of my Makeup Forever Water Blend for a lightweight, long-wearing look. To conceal underneath the eyes, I'm taking my MAC Studio Water Weight Concealer. I'm going to take my Makeup Forever Flash Palette, not Flash Palette, Pro Sculpting Palette, and I'm going to go down the line. So I'm going to take a little bit of this brightening shade just right underneath the eyes. I'm going to take actually a little bit of the shimmer first. Oh, this is my Up and Up complexion brush. I'm going to pat that right on the tops of the cheekbones, even though we did start with that MAC stuff. I think I kind of wiped a lot of it away when I cleaned up the fallout. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of the blush. Everything with a patting motion. And then finally the contour shade. And then to set everything with my Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Powder. Especially the concealer underneath the eyes. And with my MAC 135, a little bit of the Charlotte Tilbury Bronze and Glow to reinforce that. Give me a little bit more warmth. I'm thinking I want a little bit of powder highlighter, so I'm going to take this Atomic Blonde NARS palette and go into this highlighter. I'm taking some MAC Fix Plus and Scandinavia Setting Spray. And then finally for lips, I'm thinking a nice nude. I know, so boring, but I really want to wear my Barbara lipstick because you know I'm obsessed with this shade. NARS Audacious Barbara. Just blot that down. Bulletproof. Alright, so this is the final look. Here we are. I hope that you enjoyed. I actually need to run, but I love you lots. Thank you so much for joining me today as I got ready for my date night, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye guys.